Thank you for joining us for the 2-minute drills. I'm Aram Talegian, San Gabriel Valley Newspaper Group football writer, joined by Fred J. Robledo, the San Gabriel Valley Tribune Prep Sports editor. Freddie, we are in week 3. Some big games yet again have arrived on the docket. Right now we're going to talk about Rancho Cucamonga 3-0, one of the top teams in the Inland Division, visiting Charter Oak, also 3-0, another one of the top teams in the Inland Division and the number 1 ranked team here in the San Gabriel Valley. Get us going, Fred.
Well, Rancho Cucamonga, obviously, they're 3-0, Aaron. They've been blowing out teams. I mean, they beat Silverado 52-0, Great Oak 35-0, and last week they beat Muir 35-6 in another game that really wasn't close. And they've been on a roll. And look, for Charter Oak, Aaron, I feel like this is their real big, their first big step-up game of the year against a team from the Inland Division that may compete for that title. This is the game I've been waiting for Charter Oak because they've looked good. They've looked really good in 3 weeks when you consider beating Glendora, a team that just recently beat Colony and hung with Monrovia. You look at the second week, beating Roosevelt, another good Inland team on the road, and then beating Esperanza the way they did, rolling up 600 yards. I mean, the time has arrived for a game like this for Charter Oak. I've been waiting to see them really test themselves. I think the timing is absolutely perfect. Rancho Cucamonga is a team in previous years, even when they had their championship runs, I remember them tying them one year in a great game and losing near the end in another. This is a team they haven't been able to get over the hump against. And, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been looking forward to this game since the season started. And to have them both 3-0, I mean, it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is a good setup. Just to correct you, Charter Oak beat Roosevelt, and that game was at home for Charter Oak. And I believe that game was a step-up game, and they got that step-up win, and the monkey is off their back. Because when you look at Roosevelt, they're a second-place team last year out of the Big 8 League, which is where Corona Centennial plays. It's obviously the big league out in the Inland Division. So I think Charter Oak has gotten that win. I mean, they beat a legitimate Division II Inland Division team in Roosevelt. Now, granted, Roosevelt didn't have its quarterback, but the kid that they had playing quarterback had transferred from Santiago, where he had played quarterback the year before. And Charter Oak's offense put up a nice number of points, 35, I believe. And then obviously last week they played Esperanza. They put up over 700 yards of offense, I believe, when it was all said and done. Just a phenomenal showing from their offense after being sluggish against Glendora. So I think they've won their step-up game. Now, obviously, I agree with you. This is a tougher game than any of than either Esperanza or Roosevelt.
I call it a baby step-up game, the one over Roosevelt. I think you're cutting them a lot of slack calling them a step-up game. To me, a step-up game is Bishop Amat trying to go to Servite and see what happens. West Covina going to Loyola trying to see what happens. This week, facing a team like this is a true step-up game.
Are you implying they won an underdog against Roosevelt?
Yeah, but it was a close underdog, maybe a 3 or 4 point touchdown underdog. On Cal Preps, they're 17-point underdogs going into this week.
Right.
This is a game. Look, when you look at their program the last few years, they haven't had this kind of a win. Even when they won their 2 Southeast championships a few years ago, they didn't have wins like this on the schedule. They beat Diamond Ranch, a team with 500 or sub-500 record in championship games. This is the game, Aram, where you really measure yourself. Do you want to be number 1 in the Valley? And I know we've disagreed in this. You've had Charter Oak since the beginning. I still think Amat is probably the better team. They win head-to-head. But that would change my mind this week if Charter Oak wins a game like this. To me, that would be completely deserving of the number one spot. Because if you beat a team like Rancho Cucamonga, that's the biggest win on the resume for any team in the area right now. No one would have a bigger win than that. And that's what number 1 teams should do. This is their opportunity this week. So let's not call the second week a step-up game. This is the true step-up game. What are you going to do about it?
Well, like I said, I mean, they've beaten 2 Inland Division teams now in Glendora and Roosevelt. They've beaten Esperanza, which is
I think they've all had 3 very good wins. They've been good wins.
Yeah, they have been very good wins. At least offensively, maybe not week 1, but offensively they've been good. It's asking an awful lot because at the end of the day, I really don't believe Charter Oak is an Inland Division team. I mean, you can just look at enrollment to kind of tell you that much. And so now to have them play Roosevelt, Esperanza, and now Rancho Cucamonga back to back to back, that's really, really tough. And here's the thing, Fred. I saw Rancho play this summer in passing games. They were at Bonita for a throw against Bonita, Monrovia, and Glendora, and I was not impressed by them at all. They had a couple skill guys that looked good. Quarterback Dimitri Morales, he looked okay. I was not really impressed by what I saw. Now, however, what I heard was a different story, because taking place on the backside of where all the passing games were was a lineman competition, and Rancho just absolutely dominated that. And that's where they have a huge advantage in this game. They are humongous along both lines, and it kind of helps those skill guys, do their thing. I don't know that Charter Oak can stack up to a team like this that's that huge across the board, especially coming off of games with Esperanza and Roosevelt. So, and maybe even Glendora in that mix. So this is a real danger zone for them. I know their offense can kind of move on guys, but if they're getting pushed around at the line of scrimmage, Charter Oak, I think, can be in trouble.
Now, I think they can win it. I think they're going to win a game, Aram, that maybe you say that's in over their head. Now, I still kind of thought you're making some excuses for them. I mean, if you're going to put them the #1 team in the Valley and say they're better than Bishop Amat, and then start talking about competing against the better inland teams, or they shouldn't be there, then what are we arguing? I mean, I think Charter Oak can prove they deserve to be in the inland. I think beating Roosevelt shows that they can beat inland teams. Beating Rancho Cucamonga would show they can beat any inland team. And this offense, when you look what they're doing, and I haven't been down on Charter Oak. I think they have a great team. I really love their balance, the way they're throwing the ball and running the ball. Even when they were winning championships, Chris Allen wasn't throwing the ball the way they're throwing the ball now. They can do things. They're a little bit more dynamic offensively. Now, defensively, you're right. They're not what they used to be. But I think there comes a time when you've got to step up and win a game like this. And I have that feeling, and it's nothing really more than that this is Charter Oak's time, and that on Friday night they're going to earn their stripes, they're going to show why they're #1 in the Valley, and they're going to beat this team that they haven't been able to get over the hump against, finally.
Wow. Okay, so you're picking Charter Oak to win this game. I got to go with Rancho here. I think the task is just too tall. The line of scrimmage is going to be very, very difficult for Charter Oak to overcome in this game, and that's going to probably lead to a lot of heat coming on Travis Santiago. And then conversely, when Charter Oak's on defense, their secondary is the strength of their team. Yeah. But up front, if they're getting pushed around and Rancho's running the ball on them, it could be the danger zone. Yeah. But Charter Oak's offense is good enough, to spring an upset and to stay around in the game. I just think on the heels of what they've played the past 2 or 3 weeks, this is just too tall of a task. I'm going to take Rancho.
I'll tell you, these Rancho bloggers invaded the Star News. Charter Oak is not Mir. Just remember that when you come in there and you start talking. Charter Oak is not Mir. You're going to have a game on Friday nights.
Yeah, I think everybody knows it. Okay, so in a stunning reversal of form here, Freddie's actually taking Charter Oak, and I'm taking Rancho. I will be out there to cover that game on Friday night. It should be a good one. Charter Oak 3-0 hosting Rancho 3-0. Somebody's O has to go. Get out to that game at Charter Oak 7 o'clock on Friday night. Enjoy it.